Hey, Shalom. First of all, I want to say all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Wakakwadash, a double honors to the apostles at Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect out there, to all you elders, brethren, your sisters. It's your brother Elder Ayathun, back with another video. And in this video, I'm going to just bring out some latest news going into prophecy, which is what we mainly focus on. And it's going into the famine, both the famine of the word and the famine of bread, the famine of food on the table. So I'm going to start with this video that was sent to me by a brother. And this is featuring a video by Arrows of Indignation 144 on his channel. I'm going to play a small portion of this. Okay, so listen up.
And I want you to listen to me, and I want the nation to, because I'm the chairman of our House Agriculture Committee, and I'm very worried about this turmoil over in Ukraine and Russia's violent, illegal, and criminal action that they're taking, and the impact that this has on global trade, and most importantly, our own food security. We could very well be on the verge of a hunger crisis all over this world. I want to share with you some research and the nation so we can understand what this Ukraine-Russia situation is causing. Today, Russia alone is producing more than 2/3 of the 20 million metric tons of fertilizer used to grow corn and wheat around the world. One country producing 66% of the fertilizer that is needed. And when you combine Ukraine and Russia, also, these are the two largest exporters of wheat, corn, and barley, producing 1/4 of the world's wheat in these two countries, making this impact a crisis of soaring magnitude when you have this much and these two countries are warring each other.
All right, so you heard the chairman, Mr. Scott. You heard what he said. This could very likely cause a food shortage of I forgot the exact words he used. I believe soaring, accumulation, he might have said, or proportionate values. But yeah, this is very key because we know that pursuant to the scriptures, Russia, known as Gog and Magog in the scriptures, when they get into it with Babylon, which represents America, that these are the two major players in World War III. And so now that these two are locking horns as we speak, this is going to cause catastrophic effects throughout the world, even here in Babylon. So remember, in ancient Egypt suffered from a great famine. And what made Egypt rich, put them on the map, the ancient Egypt, as the leaders at their time, was Joseph, the Israelites. It was Joseph. Through his dream, he prophesied about the famine. So the Pharaoh, they stocked up on corn. But here, see, this famine here is not going to lead modern day Babylon into being some type of great empire. This is actually a famine that's going to lead to the downfall of modern day Babylon. Let's bring out Luke, the 21st chapter. Now, I'm not going to bring out a lot of precepts. Just going to run through this quick update. So this is Luke 21, and let's start at 10. These are the words of Yahushua. Then he said unto them, the disciples, nation shall rise against nation. We're witnessing that right now. And kingdom against kingdom, right? So nation versus against nation, and then you have kingdom against kingdom. So a kingdom against a kingdom would be these larger powers, these major world powers, and then you got the other nations, right? And so the major world powers that are locking horns right now are Russia and Babylon, and then you got the other nations that are smaller nations that are going to get involved because they're part of NATO, right? So they're all going to get sucked into this. But there's many prophecies that need to come to pass first before there's any real serious literal threat of nuclear warfare. The MOTB needs to come. These things we're reading now, right? Verse 11, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, which is happening now. Go on Google and you look up something called the earthquake map, and you will see the earthquakes that happen on a daily basis. And here we go, and famines. So since before the C-19, around the time the C-19 started, remember that they've been gearing up for the famine. They shut down many of the farms, and remember they forced the farmers to dead off their animals, their cattle, if you remember. Then you had the supply chain issues, and then you had the strain on the truckers and all the ships being held back on the docks in California and various other major import states and cities. Then you had the strain put on the drivers because they didn't want to get the dirt. Now you got the gas prices. So as you can see, just as the scriptures say, that these things are building up like a woman in having her contractions before delivering the baby. And a baby that will be finally delivered is the nuclear destruction. You know, the scriptures talk about that, the fiery flying serpent. So here we go about the famine, the news coming up. So in other words, there was talks about famines for about a year or two now. About 1 or 2 years now. But now it's coming to a head. It's like a whitehead that's about to pop, you know. So it says, earthquakes shall be in diverse places and famines. And we just listened to what the chairman said. And that's very real. This is happening right now. Because, we'll get into it in a minute. And pestilences, which was what, the C-19 was the latest. And there's going to be more. They've already warned that there's more coming to pass, that are going to come to pass, more serious, more deadly. China is suffering from one now. So all these things are happening at the same time. Then you got the famine of the word, which I got a couple articles on that, and scriptures as well. So it says, and pestilences and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. So there have been many chariot sightings lately. There's been a lot of signs in the sun and in the moon coming into 2022. Blood moons, eclipses. I mean, all types of stuff has been happening in the same period of time. So these are, Yahushua said what? That he comes as a thief in the night, right? But he's not coming as a thief to those who are watching. Well, we're reading right here. The Yahushua is telling us what's going to happen before he comes. Verse 11 again. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. Verse 12, but before all these they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. And right now we've been through this plenty of times in the court system, locked, arrested for none other but teaching this truth, teaching the word, and being the men that are teaching his word. Now the elites and the major players in his kingdom, they're definitely watching us. Hence the shadow banning, the algorithms that are put in place to stop us, and anybody bringing out the truth. So the elites know who we are, because we are the ancient prophets coming back. Who else is prophesying the downfall of Babylon? When you go to Jeremiah 28:8, you can read that. We're doing the same things the ancient prophets did. And the elites, all those ancient times when those prophets were ruling, they took it very seriously. So what's different now? Nothing's different. There's no difference. So let's look at this not this one. Look at this headline here. This is why this is happening. So fertilizer prices are at a record high, as well as fuel prices for the truckers. So you can see the strain that this is putting, the bottleneck this is putting on the supply chain of getting the food to the truckers. Well, the ships here, then the food to the truckers, and then the truckers delivering them to the supermarket. That's quite a process, and if anything is held up in the middle, it's going to cause you're going to feel it. So it says here, the headline, fertilizer prices just hit a record high, sparking fears of global starvation and the worst food insecurity level since World War II. You read 2 Ezra's 15-16 chapter, it tells you how neighbors are going to become enemies. Friends are going to become enemies. They're going to be breaking into each other's homes for food. So this is posted, March 21st, not too long ago. This was uploaded by the brother a couple days ago. So it says farmers worldwide. Now check this out. When was this posted? At 1:44 p.m. And it's a 4-minute read. I mean, look at all those spiritual numbers. But it said here, farmers worldwide are feeling the sting of sanctions as the Ukraine war has sent fertilizer prices soaring to new all-time highs, prompting concerns over a global food shortage. Fertilizer prices last week were nearly 10% higher than the week before, according to Green Markets North America Fertilizer Price Index, the highest price point ever recorded. Prices are now 40% higher than a month ago, before the invasion of Ukraine. So now you got the gas hike, you got the Feds just raised the inflation, right? So you had that hike, and now you have the fertilizer hike, the price in fertilizer. So guess what? You're gonna feel it in the supermarket. It's gonna be felt in the supermarket. People are already struggling from everything else going on. So you can see the contractions just getting tighter and tighter. So I'll put this in the description, okay? Because I'm not gonna make this too long, so I'm just gonna keep it moving, right? So let's go back to this image I had earlier. Job 9:24, right? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. We got a photo of the globe here, and then we got the internet in the background. Why? Well, what you're listening to this podcast or this recording on is www, the World Wide Web. And if you see, this globe has a web around it. Now, if I could find a picture, let's see if I have a photo. Let's find a good photo to encapsulate what I want to say here. Let's see. Get a good image here. All right, here we go. Perfect. All right, you see this here, right? Brothers and sisters. So this right here represents the world and internet coverage. And you can see all these points where the internet is all over the world, connecting the whole world, worldwide. Now, we all know, right? We know that this was created by the Most High so that he can get the word out to the entire world. So let me I got a bunch of, I tried to do this lesson the other day, but ran into some technical difficulties, and there's a strike on my GMS on air page. So I had to work my way around that. And so I got a bunch of scriptures here that I had already queued up. And let me get the one I want. Not this one. Let me see if it's here. Here we go. This is Mark 13, verse 9. It says, "But take heed to yourselves, for they shall deliver you up to councils, and in the synagogues ye shall be beaten, and ye shall be brought before rulers and kings for my name's sake." For my sake, for a testimony against them. Here's a point. And the gospel must first be published among all nations. Now, in the ancient times, we would have to do a lot of footwork to get this word spread, which we still got camps. We go out and set up the camps. But for the publishing of this word throughout the whole entire world, we couldn't do it the way the prophets would traditionally do it in the ancient days. We are the prophets coming back in our lives. We're doing the same thing, spreading the word, feeding the flock, gathering the elect. But we are in a technology age now. So the Most High created technology for us to push His word, in these modern day times. So that involves what? The internet. So the internet, as Apostle Gabar would say, is doing the heavy lifting. The internet is carrying the burden or the load. Matter of fact, when you get into the internet, into the infrastructure of how the internet works, they have something called a load balancer. Okay, the load balancer, what it does is it balances the amount of traffic going to your website, so your website does not get too much traffic where it'll shut it down. So they have something called a load balancer. So I say that to say that that's just more proof, more clues to show how the internet was created for this load. Meaning this work, which is to publish His word throughout the whole earth. And what's spiritual, right? Is if I go back to the image I just had, this image, right? So these are lines, when you go outside on a telephone pole, there's cable lines that run your internet through the cable lines. Now you might have something updated. You might have a satellite dish, right? So when you see these big dots here, these are most likely satellite areas. And then from the satellite, through wires or through lines, it transports the information to your home into different areas. But you have hubs, which are satellites. Now, I'll show you spiritual about this. If you go to, and also to prove the Most High created this, Psalms 19:3. It says, "There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard." Their line is going out throughout all the earth. Now remember, during the time of the, I believe it was at Pentecost, right? When you go back to Acts, when the Most High gave the disciples, He gave them the spiritual power to speak different languages, and they had to speak face to face, right, to Israel in the different languages from whatever nation they were from. Well, now in this new modern digital age that we're in, we can make these same videos, and the internet, because it was created to do the heavy lifting, to take care of the heavy load, the heavy burden, it can translate our words into whatever language it needs to be translated to, whether it's Chinese, whether it's Bulgarian, whether it's Aramaic. The closed caption on the video can be changed to translate it to whatever nation, or whatever language it needs to be. So it says, verse 3, there is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Verse 4, it says their line is going out throughout all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. That can only be done by the internet. And them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun. So the tabernacle for the sun represents the wisdom that you are getting out of the internet. That is a tabernacle the Most High set up. This is why it envelops the whole entire world. And if you picked up on it, the scripture said what? It said that their line is going out throughout all the earth. And what we were just talking about, the lines, see, these are lines going all over the earth, the internet lines. Now, the line represents something else as well, you see? Because when you go to Revelation, what does it say in the book of Revelation? It says the Most High will not hurt the earth nor the trees until he hath sealed the elect. Okay? So how does the Most High, how is he sealing the elect now through the internet? Well, they're watching the videos, and the Most High, they got to measure up. So we don't have to go out there physically, right? Now, let me go to, I might have it here, Revelation 11. Okay, Revelation 11 and 1. Matter of fact, let's do this first. Let's go to, do I have the blue letter Bible up here somewhere? Let me see if I got the blue letter Bible. That's what I want. Okay. Apparently not blue. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So let's do this. Let's go into the word line. Their line. Okay, it says line. Let's play it.
Strong's H, 6957. Carve. Second entry.
All right, so, excuse me. It says here, chord, line, measuring line. So when you get into carpentry and some of these other trades, they use a measuring line. Measuring line, a measuring line could be a good example is a tape measure. Tape measure is a modern day measuring line, okay? So what the Most High is doing with his internet, he's measuring the elect. The same way as we do when we go on the street corners. Revelation 11:1, and there was given me a reed like unto a rod. And the angel said, rise and measure the temple of the Most High. Now I believe if I go back to this, Zechariah 1:16 right here, it says, therefore thus say the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Oh, this is a good one. Hold on. This is not the one I wanted, though. Let me read it. Therefore, thus say the Lord, I am returned to Jerusalem with mercies. My house shall be built in it, saith the Lord of hosts, and a line shall be stretched forth upon Jerusalem, which is good. But there's another one I'm looking for. Nope. Maybe it's Ezekiel. Here we go. Ezekiel 47:3. And when the man that had the line in his hand went forth eastward, he measured 1,000 cubits and brought me through the waters. The waters were to the ankles. So that's just to prove to you that the line is talking about a measuring instrument. So when we go back to Revelation 11, the reed is symbolic to the line. Same thing. There was given me a reed like unto a rod. And the angel stood saying, rise and measure the temple of the Most High and the altar and them that worship therein. Now, the way we do this is we go on the street corners and we speak the word of the Lord. And the word of the Lord is unto a rod or a reed, because it forsakes you for your ways, the ways that you brought up. It corrects you. It's a correcting instrument, right? So you got certain brothers that are gonna measure up. In other words, they're gonna shape up. You know that term, shape up or ship out. Well, they're gonna shape up, so they're gonna measure up. In other words, and then you got some that they're gonna shape out. They're gonna ship out. In other words, they're not gonna measure up, and they are part of the temple without. So if you read down, but the court which is without the temple, leave out and measure not, for it is given to the Gentiles. Okay. So the Gentiles are the other nations, right? Meaning they can't come into the inner court or this inner circle, this thing of ours, this truth. But you have Israelites out there that are in a Gentile state of mind. So they don't want to forsake the ways of the Gentiles and come to this truth, come into the inner circle. So guess what? They don't measure up. So it's the same thing now digitally. You know, when our word goes out there through this line, through this internet, well, if you're watching the video on the other side, you got to measure up, right? You got to measure up. So the Lord is building his altar through the internet. He's building the kingdom of heaven, right? Because the kingdom of heaven is within us. He's building it. He's gathering all the stones, all the brothers, all the elect through the instrument or the device of the internet. But as we're going to go into, and as we always told you, brothers, is that the Most High is going to shut the doors of mercy, and he's going to create a famine of the word. So we got what we need out of this. So here we go. Verse, let me just go to 11 for time's sake. So this is Amos 8:11. Behold, the days come, say the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, that I'll send a famine in the land. Not a famine of bread, but there is a famine coming. Yahushua spoke about it. Okay, but the Lord's talking about another type of famine. But what I'm showing you is both of these are coming at the same time, as well as everything else. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, that I will send a famine in the land. Not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it. Now, how is somebody going to wander from sea to sea to look for the word of the Lord? Or from north even to the east to look for the word of the Lord? Well, this can be done through the internet, can it be not? Because many of you brothers watching this video and the rest of our videos, and the videos that we watch from you brothers, you need an airplane to get to you, and vice versa. So we can seek the word across the sea, across the borders, just by going on the internet, typing in www.blah-blah-blah.com, and we could search for whatever. So there's going to come a point in time where you're not going to be able to go on the internet to search for the word. That's the famine the Lord is bringing. So that's the second thing I want to talk about. And this is something called, let's see if I got it here. It's called the Splinternet. And this is another thing that's coming out of the war with Russia, Ukraine, Babylon. And you brothers and sisters know that it's called a theater war, the theater of war, because they're pretty much all in it together, and they all have the same vision, which is the NWO. So out of this, and out of every single war that Babylon has been involved in. There always something new always comes out of it. New technology, new policy. Wars are a way to do resets. Could be a minor reset or it could be a great reset. So the way the prophecies are going, we're headed towards a great reset. But there's things that need to be instilled in order to make this great reset happen, right? Because there's going to be a changing of the way we do everything. It's going to be changed all the way to digital. So certain measures had to be put in place before they can switch over successfully into the new system. So the best way to do that is you create chaos, and out of chaos comes the you dish out the different things you want to devices you want to instill, and then at the end of it, and then you do the switch over. So this is called the splinter net, right? It said while cogent's service cut off to Russia doesn't eliminate the country's network access completely. All right, let me get to something that makes sense here. All right, so let me just tell you, brothers, and what this means in English, because they might go into some crazy. Basically, what's going on in Russia right now is I got a couple articles here. Let me see. Now I did another video, right? It was on it's on GMS on there, and it's going into Esau in a fire sale, which I highly recommend you brothers and sisters watch that video, because I go into how the wars now fought, how wars used to be fought. Isaiah 95 tell you that. We're living in a digital age. So there's a thing called silent weapons for silent wars. So the wars that we are in now, they use silent weapons. It's a digital war now. The war is digital. That's why I'm saying you should go watch the video Fire Cell so it can make more sense. But we're in a digital war now. And remember, this when Yahushua comes back, he said, I shall not meet thee as a man. And this this deliverance that we're going to be into, as the scriptures say, is going to outdo the deliverance of Egypt. And in Egypt, what Egypt was known for, what? Egypt was known for great technological advances. Of course, Jake is the originator of many of those. I mean, a perfect example are the pyramids. To this day, experts are dumbfounded how the pyramids were built. Them large slabs of stone, and the measurements, and the way they catch the sun and all that. This is magnificent work. Here in Babylon has technology that we cannot even fathom. The stuff you see in movies, that's nothing compared to what they got. If you see it in a movie, that means it's old technology. So my point is that this war is going to be a highly technological war, because the Most High's got to make this. It's going to be a fireworks show when Yahushua appear, a spectacular show. So he's going to bring Esau to the greatest height of any kingdom ever. But anyway, Slakia, man. The reason I say that is the splinter net is a part of this digital war, but also leads the way into what they want to do, what's coming next. So let me read on, and I'll make my next point. It says a splinter net in pictures, what the internet looks like for Russians right now. Facebook, Instagram, the BBC, and many other sites are blocked by the Russian state and Russian ISPs. ISP stands for Internet Service Provider. What is an Internet Service Provider? That is your cable company who provides you the internet service. But beyond them, they're wholesalers. They buy the internet at wholesale prices, and then they sell it to you and I. They're retailers. But you got the big dogs that provide them the internet, that own all the towers and everything, right? But those are ISPs. For instance, those are ISPs, and ISPs are being blocked in Russia, meaning If this is blocked, these lines can't go out. You're not getting any internet. So that's what they're doing now in Russia, right? So they're blocking out certain websites are being blocked, so you can't access them. Russians going down here, Russians who try and access these sites from Russia without a VPN stands for a virtual private network, will run into error messages. This is a splinter net in action. So in other words, this is similar to what the Most High did during the Tower of Babel. During the Tower of Babel, remember, they're going to create, they're creating the Tower of Babel, and the way the Lord destroyed that is he separated the languages. He had them all speaking different languages. Now this here, the splinter net, in other words, the splitting of the internet, well, is similar to the Tower of Babel, but digitally. You're not going to be able to access sites to that go into other countries and other nations. So in other words, America or Babylon, they already control the media, but they can more so police it now. Because you best believe that this is going to come here. It's in China, it's in Russia, it's also in China. I've got it here somewhere. The splinter net, how China and the US could divide the internet for the rest of the world. Down here, key points. The future could see Chinese and American apps and services dominate half of the internet each, leading to a split internet, according to the coffee, blah, blah, blah. Commentators have dubbed this a splinter net. All right. So basically what it's going to come into, man, this is going to lead into heavy policing of the internet. And it's going to come to the point to where, you know, we're not going to be able to communicate with brothers in other parts of the world and vice versa. And people from other parts of the world are not going to be able to communicate over the ocean. So this is going to be the beginnings of the famine of the word. There's going to be a split. Right? So we read about the famine. Let me see if there's anything here I want to bring out about the splinter net. And of course they're going to use cyber attacks as that's the chaos is the cyber attacks. How do you bring order? Well, we got to take some more of your liberty. So we got to confine the internet to prevent from cyber attacks. So that's the boogeyman. See, when you put everything digital, the boogeyman could be anybody. I mean, you can create a boogie. All you gotta do is create a couple lines of code and you can create a new boogeyman. Also, cyber attack. Pestilence. That's another boogeyman that's not seen, right? But you can say tomorrow there's a new variant of whatever, and people just believe it because you can't see it. So they're just gonna believe the science, and they're gonna believe what they're reading on the internet and on TV. So anyway, it says here, a war in the digital age. And that's what I said earlier. This is a new war. The new war is digital. A war in the digital age drastically changes the way malicious attacks are conducted, moving warfare from the battlefield to cyberspace. Defense requires everything from protecting the computer systems that power critical infrastructure, right? I was speaking about infrastructure earlier, the load balancers and all that, to proactively eliminating potential threat vectors, such as the case in the ongoing conflict in Eastern Europe, as US-based internet provider Cogent announced it was cutting off its high-capacity network in Russia due to the invasion in Ukraine. The company said it was making the move primarily to guard against the country trying to use its network for the purpose of cyber attacks and spreading disinformation. Cogent offers high-speed networks between cities on all 6 habitable continents with over 100,000 miles of fiber optics. What did I say earlier? And by the way, fiber optics was created by Jake back when it was called Atlantic Bell. Well, Atlantic Bell is now known as Verizon. Verizon is known for the fiber optics, but it used to be called Atlantic Bell. When it was called Atlantic Bell, there was a Jake, and I believe he's still alive. And excuse me, he invented a fiber optic system, but of course you'll never hear from it. And then Jake had to sign a contract that he can't come out and say that he invented it, because when you work for somebody, you're an employer. You look up employer in a Black's Law dictionary, and the word employee, the word employee, it means a slave. So when you're a slave and you invent something, well, you didn't invent it, your master did. Your master gets all the rights and the patents, right? So the fiber optic lines, the credit goes to Verizon, aka Atlantic Bell, but it was a Jake that invented it. But anyway, going back to this photo here, where is it? Where's our photo? This one, is it? Not this one. Okay, I can't find it. The photo I had earlier with the lines, right? Because I mentioned the fiber optic lines, it said 100,000 lines, right? So like I said, the ISP, if you cut off from here, then none of these lines are going out. Meaning these people, they can't access the truth if they wanted to, because they're gonna block. They can't access the truth. They can block whatever they want to block. Okay. So when this comes to America, and eventually it will, okay, you see them center stage with the cyber attacks and all that. Well, that's what it's going to be. That's going to be the famine of the word in a big way. Okay, so let's see what else I got here. If anything else I want to bring. Actually, let me bring something else. I guess I can end it on this. From this article here, right? Look at what it says. The first thing it says here. Truth, as the saying goes, is the first casualty of war. 8 days after Russia invaded Ukraine, its communications agency, Roskomnadzor, I'm not even trying to say that, cut off access to foreign news sites, including the BBC, Dutch Whale, and Voice of America. It also banned Facebook. Okay? So, truth, as the saying goes, is the first casualty of war. So in other words, going back to Amos, they shall wander from sea to sea, and from north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it. You get the picture, right? Of how this could very well go down. So anyway, brothers and sisters, man, I hope this was edifying, and I'm going to say a shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Kakudash, Barakatam, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahushai, and shalom.